All right, so you are welcome to another episode of Meet the Property Guy, and this time around we are back at our screen record, talking about different locations here in Lagos. Most importantly, what we'll be looking at here at property maturity holding period of different locations here in Lagos. I know a lot of you guys have properties on the island, on the mainland, Ibeju-Lekki. Some of you also have properties in Ikorodu. Some of you also have properties around the and you want to know how long you have to hold, how long will this property mature, and when exactly can you start planning to resell this particular property. Because I've realized that a lot of investors go into some certain location to invest there based on some certain assumptions. I've always insist that real estate is long term. Real estate is long term, particularly if you are doing land banking. Even if you are doing off-plan also has a property maturity. The property maturity for Campbell Advantage 3 different from the property maturity of Campbell Advantage 5. The property maturity of Paragon Terraces by Landmark is different from the property maturity of Ambiance 2.0 by Tribitat. So by understanding the maturity of these different investments, you know that this investment I'm doing will take me 3 years, will take me 4 years, will take me 5 years, will take you 6 years, and you can now start to plan your finances accordingly. Right now, I will be starting by talking about the airport axis, of Ibeju-Lekki stroke Ekpe, which is around Eleron, around Bolon-Pelu, around Ilamija, around Alaro City. And this location basically is where we have Itunu City, Itunu Residential, Fairmont, Lagoon Front Estate, Tiwa Garden City, Tiwa Commercial Hub, Imen Phase 3, Tiara, and also Adron Eco City. They are all around this location. And also around Ilamija and around Eleron too, around Okegun, Bolon-Pelu, Eleron. There are also a lot of properties around that side too. Some are even after the lagoon. So you need to understand that if you are investing around this side, around this axis, anything around this axis, if you are investing here, you are investing primarily for the airport, for the proposed airport. The proposed airport will be coming around somewhere around here. So this proposed airport as is coming around here is what you are investing around. And number one, the airport, they have not even awarded the project. The only thing we just know right now is the site where the airport will be located. And if you are investing around this proposed airport, that means the government have to make tremendous efforts and tremendous work on that proposed airport for all these areas to boom. Alaro City have been selling in Ekpe since like more than 8 years, and it has not matured yet for resale. So people have been buying Alaro City for like 7-8 years. So that's to show you that this location that you are investing around, you need to understand that you need to give it like around 3-4 years minimum, and ideally around like 7-8 years. 7-8 years is more realistic, but just for me not to scare you too much, let's say 3-4 years, because some of these estates like Itunu, like Imen, the companies can do some of the development that they want to do there, that can also ginger some form of development, some form of construction, and also some form of demand around this location. But ideally, anything that you are buying around this axis, Lamijao, Meleron, around Alaro City, or either it's behind Alaro City, is before Alaro City, just know that your projection for this axis and the maturity for this axis is based solely on that proposed airport. All right, now, so let's cross into Ekpe. Now. So by the time we climb the Ekpe bridge and we are into Ekpe, we have a lot of towns here. We have Odumola, we have Temu, we have Poka, we have Iraye, we have Itamaru, we have Iragushi, we have Ilara, and then around the Ekpe Toki side, we have Shala, we have Molajoye, we have Kitu Ekpe, we have Umu, then down to Itoiki. So You also need to understand the holding period and maturity of some of these properties. I've said this in one of my previous videos where I talk about property price increase. Because the companies are increasing their prices doesn't mean that the property are matured. Because you buy the property at 2 million and right now it is 4 million or 4.5 million, that does not mean that property are matured. There's a property that I bought in Ekpe this year, K2 Ekpe. I bought it at 2.6 million and the property closed sales at 4 million and the company put a value of like around 8 million on that property. That property have not matured. It has not matured this year. It's not maturing next year. It's not maturing in 2 years' time. It's not even maturing in 3 years' time. Despite the fact that the company are placing 8 million on the property that I bought at 2.6 million. You need to understand this logic. Now, the price of the property or the value the property have rising to does not mean that the property have matured yet. Now, maturity of a property depends on the location. Have there been a transformation in that location? You see, all these Ekpe axes right now, everyone that is buying Ekpe right now are buying it for investment, which means that as you are buying and planning to land bank, others are also planning to land bank too. Go to the estate that we sold 2 years ago, go to the estate that we sold 3 years ago in Ekpe, you see that nothing is happening there because everybody bought for the same purpose. They want to buy for investment. Nobody do fence, nobody build house, nobody do anything. Everybody just left the land like that. And as long as the land is left like that, the property have not matured, because maturity of a property is when the people that are interested in buying that property are no longer investors, but are now people that want to stay there, people that want to build houses there, people that want to do businesses there, they want to build shops, they want to build school, they want to build creche. You know, that location have now opened up in terms of the industries, the communities, the businesses, the commercial activities. So people are interested to rent, people are interested to stay, people are interested to do business there. That's when a location have matured. You need to understand that any of these places in Ekpe right now, if you want to sell it, any of these places, if you want to sell it, the person that is buying from you is also an investor. Except maybe if you come to around maybe Odomola here, or you come to around Iraye, or you come to around Iragushi, around the Yabatek, where people are already staying, where there's already electricity, there are already businesses, there are already shops, there are already schools. Those ones, they are matured already. So, but for most places around Molajoyi, around Shala, around K2 Ekpe, around Omu, around Itoki, all these places, they are still for investment. And the people that are buying right now are just exactly people like you. They are all investors. So for most of these locations here in Ekpe, we are looking at like around a 7-8 years minimum period. 7-8 years minimum period for it to hold. Realistically, we are even looking at like a 10 years investment. So a lot of you guys may start bashing me that Rabiu 10 years bahu, that's real estate. The Macarius project currently by Pastor Ashimolowo, the land itself was bought in year 2000. So they left that land for 23 years. 23 years for the Ibeju-Lekki to boom, 23 years for the Ibeju-Lekki to transform, 23 years for the value of land in Ibeju-Lekki to rise up to what they can do there. If they have launched that project as at year 2000, nobody will buy because the location doesn't make any sense then. But they left it for 23 years to compound and for the location to transform up to what they intend to do there. And now that the project is there, everybody is buying 50 whatever million or 70 million for a plot. So that's also what you have to understand about real estate. You have to buy that location, position there for what is coming, for that location to mature up to what you want to do there, or for that location to mature up to the people that are coming there, for them to now be interested to pay you whatever that you want them to pay for that property. So for these locations that you are talking here, is around Ilara, is around Igbonla, is around Iragushi, is around Omu, is around Molajoyi, is around Shala. So you are looking at around like 7-8 years holding period, and more realistically around 10 years. Now, this does not apply to all of Ekpe. Like I said before, there's some places around Odomola, there's some places around Temu, there's some places around Iraye, where people are already residing, where there are already schools, there are already shops, there are already businesses, clubs, lounges. You know, you can come in around these places and buy a plot or buy 2 plots. It's already matured because left and right there are already houses, and within maybe 2 or 3 years you can say that okay, that's matured. You want to build it and rent it out, or you want to sell it. Now, but for most of the K2 road, Ekpe Itonki road, you have to let that property mature and let that location change from, it's not investors again, but it's now people that want to stay there, or that people that want to live there. Now, so let's go once again to around the seaport axis here. So where we talk about Orimedu, Magmalade, around the Elekko beach side, Akodo, we talk about Shiriwon, talk about Ilagbo, talk about around the Lakampine Topicana, talk about around the Lekki Deep Seaport, talk about around the Dangote Refinery. You know, this is Ibeju-Lekki here, this is Shiriwon here, and also this is Ilagbo here, Otolu, and so on. Now, if you are investing around this location, the primary target for this location is the seaports. The seaport have already been commissioned, already doing testing around the seaports, and then the Dangote Refinery too. I think that one is also closer to a lot of things. So if you invest here, then I think this location, based on my projection and my prediction, will even mature earlier than the airport side, because a lot of commercial activities are already happening around this axis already. So this, whatever that you are just buying here, just depend on the estate company that you bought from. And this is also one of the things that I've been careful with for a while now. You know, a lot of you guys always send me different flyers that, Rabiu, I saw this property, Rabiu, I saw this company, Rabiu, I saw this offer. You know, as important as it is for you to invest in a particular location, it's also very important you are mindful of the company that you are investing with. A location can boom, but because of the estate that we went to go and buy, the company did not develop the estate, you are going to realize that you will find it harder for you to sell your own, because the developer and the real estate company that you bought from have refused to develop the estate that you bought. So a lot of the land around Akodo are wetland. A lot of the land around Orimedu are wetland. So these companies have to do a lot in terms of sand filling, putting up infrastructures, road, just to ensure that that location mature enough for the people that are really coming there to want to live or to want to do businesses. So don't just see a property at Akodo for 8 million and then see another one for 18 million and assume maybe it's the same Akodo. It's not the same Akodo. What's the capacity of so-so company selling at 18 million and the capacity of so-so company selling at 8 million is different. So these are the things that you have to take note of. So for investing around the Dangote Refinery, around the seaport, these ones at least 4-5 years. 4-5 years, this location should be matured, because by then the seaport should be full-fledged, and hopefully the airport, Dangote Refinery should also be full-fledged at that time too. So 4-5 years if you are investing around this axis, 4-5 years. But again, that depends on the estate or the company that you bought from. All right, so let's make it faster. And for a lot of you guys that don't understand yet why I'm so strict and I'm so particular about diversifying. Now, just imagine this. Now, around the Alaro City side, some people here, they bought Itunu Residential, they bought Itunu City, they bought Tiwa, they bought Tiwa Garden City, they bought Fairmount. That's four properties around this axis. Now, if I add these 4 properties together, we are talking about around like 120 million or even 100 million. And some still buy commercial here. There's a bought maybe commercial from Fairmount or commercial from Tiwa. So we're talking about like around like 150 million put in this location, in this one single location. And this one single location rests on the airport. And this one single location will take like maybe 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years for it to mature. Whereas they can just put like maybe 60 or 70 million in this location, and then come to another location that can mature in maybe 3 years or 4 years and invest there too, thereby splitting their investments, where they don't have to wait a whole 6 years or a whole 5 years for just one location. But while waiting for maybe around the airport side, they have another investment in another location that have matured already that they can cash out from. That's the objective of diversifying. That's why I clamor it, and that's why I frown against people just putting all their eggs in just one location. It just doesn't make any sense to me. My perspective, though. All right, so now let's look at around Sangotedo and around Adesanya. So you have the Lagos Business School here, that's Sangotedo already. You have the shop right here. That and just right beside here at the shop right, that's the Monastery Road. FKC launched the project around Monastery Road a few months ago, and there was a lot of investors that moved there. Landway have also been around the Monastery Road for a long time. Gracias also have been around the Monastery Road for a long time. And these Adesanya here, let me zoom in. This is Adesanya here, where we have Urban Prime 1, Prime 2, Prime 3, and so on and so forth. Let's see. Okay, and Lekki Pride. Yeah, we have Lekki Pride. These Adesanya here. So Adesanya and Sangotedo are just like few bus stops away. This is Sangotedo here. These Adesanya here. This is Adesanya here. All right. So now this location, these two locations, the property maturity of these locations are much faster than around the airport side or around the Free Zone refinery side. Now again, the audience, your target market in this location also is different from around the airport side. If you are investing around the airport side, maybe it's Ituno, it's Tiwa, it's Fairmount, you are investing for people that are positioning around the airport. And in the future, when you want to flip, you want to build there and rent it out or do short let there, you are doing that for the people that want something close to that new airport. Now, for the Dangote refinery, for the seaport side, you want to invest for people that have their businesses or their services attached to the seaport and attached to the Free Zone, and you want to have your property there for you to sell or for you to build and rent out for those people. Now, for the Adesanya and Sangotedo people, these are like the middle income class, the higher middle income class right now that can't afford Orchid, that can't afford Ikota, that can't afford Osapa, that can't afford Baduri, but they need somewhere still classy, and they're already coming to Adesanya, they're already coming to Sangotedo. So that's the target market for this location. And I've been talking about Ogombo, Adesanya for like almost 2 years right now, and my prediction about this location have been perfect. Absolutely perfect. You can go to some of my previous video and you can see that I sold Meridian Boulevard, I sold Atikan Estate, I sold Lekki Pride 1. So I've done businesses in this location for me to know how this location have matured over the years. So for Sangotedo also, either one of Adesanya or Sangotedo, these are places that you can invest for 2 years. These are places you can invest for 3 years. You can pick an off plan in this location, do your risk analysis of the off plan, look at the current stage of the project, maybe invest in that project maybe when the project is already like around 30-40% delivery, so that you reduce your risk, and within 18-24 months you can flip that property. Is very much possible in this location because these are already existing marketplace. So that's why instead of someone to go and put 120 million or 150 million in buying from every company around the airport side, you can just buy from maybe 1 or 2 companies around there and come here and put 60 million in a project or in a land. You know, because in 2 years time the land is already ready for flipping. That's around the either the Ogombo side or around the Sangotedo side. Like I mentioned before, it's also very, very important that you take note of the companies that you are buying from, their capacity, and how can they develop, which is one of the things that I always look at when I'm giving suggestions to my investor. I'm telling you, okay, this company is selling at so amount, but this is what they can do, this is their capacity, this is what they can deliver, but I don't trust them that much because I believe this other company can do better. So for this location, either around Adesanya or around Sangotedo, one company I've seen that have done fantastically well in that project here, I've been able to review. Genesis Court 1, Genesis Court 2, Genesis Court 3 are fantastic projects. And these are land that you can buy to build and sell. These are land that you can buy to build and rent out. These are land that you can buy to just keep and then later on do JV on the land, just do joint venture on the land. So there are a lot of opportunities around this axis, and the maturity of this location is lesser, is closer compared to going downward after Eleko or towards either the seaport or around the airport. So let's go to the mainland too. Let's look at some locations around the mainland too. So a couple of projects also are selling around the mainland, by Arcview, by Landmark, and some other developers too. Because the mainland is already built up, so it'll be very, very scarce for you to see vacant land in some certain locations like Surulere, like Yaba, like Dibu, like Isolo, and so on. It'll be very, very rare. So a lot of the places that are going to be seeing land in this location around the mainland, they are going to be wetland. So a lot of locations where you are going to be seeing land around some of the places on the mainland here, they are going to be wetland. So we have to also have that in mind. So there's a couple of projects here on the mainland that you can do. I've talked about investing on the mainland before. I've talked about buy and demolish. There is also buy and renovate. There's also leasehold on the mainland. So and if you're looking around, maybe around the central mainland, around Surulere, around Yaba, around Onike, Akoka, Bariga, Ilaje, then just do leasehold. Perfect. Do leasehold. Makes a lot of sense. But if you prefer maybe some land banking on the mainland, then your option would be maybe around Ikotun, Igodo, Ijegun. Yeah, this axis is possible for you to see land, and you can see the airport road is around somewhere here. So this location are still at least relatively around the proposed airport. Now, Agri also launched something around Alagbado. Was it last 2 years now? And you can see the value of the property have gone from 6 million for a plot to 10 million to 12 million to 15 million right now. And definitely that's not the peak for that property. That property is still going to like 20 million or even 20 million plus too. So for people that invest in Alagbado, by currently in 2023, just give that property under 2 years, basically. Then you can start looking at maturity for that property. Now around Ikorodu also, I know a lot of you guys have properties around Ikorodu too. Some invest around the Imota, some invest around Agbowa, some invest around Ijede, some invest around Ishao, Agric side, some invest around the Last Protect side. The fact that the Last Protect have become a university now also means that a lot of the properties and a lot of locations around this axis now, there will be more demand for rentals and for hostels from students, because it's a university now. More students will shift interest in also picking the school, so which means that there will also be more demand in and higher population of students there, and definitely that's also more demand for hostels too. So this location is also perfect and makes a lot of sense. Now Agri is also selling something around Igbogbo currently, and the primary objective for that project around Igbogbo is to position for the Fourth Mainland Bridge, because you need to understand each project that you are buying and what you are positioning for. Because what you are positioning for will determine how long you have to hold that property, because what you are positioning for must come to reality or must be close to reality for you to flip. Real estate is not good. It's not what you just buy and then the next day you want to sell. It's a solid asset. So there must be a conviction and some market realities that have happened on that market and on that location for anyone to be interested to say that, okay, all right, let me pay for this property. So it's very, very important you understand all these metrics. So that property at Igbogbo, that project at Igbogbo is positioned right for the Fourth Mainland Bridge is coming. So which means that project rests a lot on how fast the government make a move on that particular project. Now there are different investors. Some people like to move in early, like me. Alright, so people like to see things happen first before they move. It's fine. Whatever category that you belong in is fine. But just need to understand the positioning that you are doing in that particular location and what your investment in that location is tied to. So that you don't go and buy a property where you have to hold for 6 years and you assume that you can sell in 2 years' time. And then in 2 years' time you want to sell and your money is just hooked there. So it's very, very important you understand this. We had people that went to go and buy buy 10 plots, buy 1 acre there, because they assume that they can buy at 20 million and in 1 year time you can sell at 28 million or 26 million. They can make 6 million out profit. Let's say it does not work like that. You need to understand the metrics, you need to understand the positioning, you need to understand the holding period, the maturity of that investment, so that you don't go and tie your money in a place where you are supposed to tie 40 million. you go and tie 120 million there, definitely you are going to end up disappointed. So this is one of the excellent things that we do when we are talking to our investors, when we are trying to build a portfolio for our investors. We tell you that particular location, we tell you what is happening there, we tell you what you are positioning there for, and most importantly, we tell you the holding period, facts, undiluted, to be frank. So because it is what it is, I have to tell you the truth about your investment. I buy real estate too. So you have to understand that you have to hold that property, you have to hold that investment for a particular period before it matures. All right, so that's it, and that's just the few locations here in Lagos, about the airport side, the seaport side, inside Epe, around the Ikorodu, around the Alagbado, around the mainland, and around the Adesanya and Sangotedo period, Sangotedo axis, where you can invest, and how long you have to hold this property for you to invest, before you can flip, or for that property to mature. All right, maybe you are going to be having another episode where we'll be mentioning some certain period, some certain projects rather, some specific certain projects, either estate or off plan, and we'll be giving you a rough estimated period, or a rough holding period of when you have to hold that particular investment, because it's important. Don't let anybody tell you that land in Ekpe, in 1 year time you can sell it. Who will buy? Who? Person buying will still also be an investor, except the place that you are already buying is inside town, maybe around Odomola, around the Tamarun, around the Raye, where there are already existing buildings everywhere. 1 year 6 months you can say you want to flip, but you are buying a land in Omu, Kitu Omu, you are buying a land in Itoikin. There's no possible you can sell in 1 year. I don't know, except you have Olugbon and you used to tell the person to buy. All right, so if you have further questions, you have further suggestions, you have feedback on what you have mentioned here, you've got the property somewhere in Lagos, you've got the property in Sangotedo, around the airport, around the seaport, and you want to know how long you have to hold that property, you want to know how long that property is going to mature, then you can drop your comments, and I'm definitely going to attend to that and give you my suggestion, do my prediction, and also do a projection, a market projection about that location, and how long you have to hold it, how long you have to keep it, and even some of this property you might have to do some improvements on that property even before you can say you want to flip it. All right, so if you have been watching our videos, been enjoying our content, this is another opportunity for you to subscribe. And if you have learned a lot from this particular topic, you have learned a lot from the guys I've shared in this episode, don't forget to give us a thumb like. I would so much appreciate that. Give us a thumb like, drop your comment, drop your review. Let's hear from you. I always love to hear from you. All right, so thanks once again for your time. Thanks once again for watching our videos. Thanks once again for supporting us. Thanks once again for loving our content. I love you guys too, and see you next time.